Okay.
Only a year older.
Well, welcome to the January meeting of the Changing Places Working Group. We are Corwett. In attendance are Councillor Truelove, Councillor Curdow, Councillor Williams and Darryl Smith. So I'm going to kick off with the agenda. 21-22/59, apologies for absence. There's an apologies book going round, and we have apologies for absence from Fiona Dunn and Councillor Abdul Malik. So, Darryl, if you'd just like to have a gander at that, thank you. So can I have a proposer for Fiona Dunn, please? Proposed by Councillor Curdow, seconded by Councillor Truelove. All in favour of accepting Fiona's reasons, thank you. Councillor Abdul Malik, again, look, Councillor Curdow, Councillor Truelove, all in favour? Say aye. Okay, thank you very much for that. 21-22-60, disclosures of interest. Any declarations of interest from councillors for items on the agenda? No. Have we received any written requests?
No.
No, thank you very much, Clark. So we're not granting any requests. We'll just pause for a second here as I think a member of the public joins us to avoid disruption on the recording. And it is. It's Catherine. So, welcome, Catherine.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
Yeah, it's okay. We are underway. So, minutes of the previous meeting, then 21-22-61. To confirm as a correct record, the minutes of the meeting held on the 20th of December 2021. They were attached. I have already seen them, so I'm happy with them. So, I'm not going to comment on them as written.
I was absent.
Are you absent, Mark?
I was absent.
You were absent. Yes, we were struggling for then, weren't we? So, Darryl, you were the only one here. That any issues with the minutes, my old friend? No. Okay. Well, then I'll propose them as true and correct, and you'll have to second them, Darryl.
Seconded.
And all in favour, and it's just us two, with 2 in favour, 2 abstentions, owing to the absences. So, confidential items to be discussed in confidence after item 66. I don't have any items in confidence of this particular agenda. The clerk is shaking her head as well. So, what about you guys? No?
No.
Okay. So, we'll proceed as scheduled then. So, 21-22-63, public participation. Catherine, you know well what this is all about, so it's your opportunity to speak should you want to on any item of business conducted by the council.
Thank you.
No, you're fine?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Going back to that one, as is my usual style on this particular meeting, if you want to chip in at any point in the meeting, especially when we're talking about colours and things like that, we would like your input, I guess, on these bits of plastic here. So, update since the last meeting. To receive any updates. Well, the only update I've got is an email from Philip Davis's PA on the 11th of January, which says that she's been informed by the inquiries team at the Department for Health and Social Care that your case is still currently receiving attention. We'll of course be in touch as soon as I hear from them again, because basically I wrote to Philip again on the 4th of January to say, as you're back in the seat on the 5th of January, could you please chase as soon as you're back in the chair to see what the latest update was, and 6 days later that's what we got. But it's interesting, it comes out from the Department for Health and Social Care as opposed to Ministries for Levelling Up, Communities and Local Government, who had the mandate to do it in the first place. So I wonder whether that's a little bit of bat and ball passing in government.
Bit of smudging.
Well, it does seem to be a little bit of ball passing there, or body swerving. And I just wonder whether that's something that we don't know anything about. But
Are they talking to the right department?
well, it was Gove I pointed Davis at, because Gove is the Minister for Levelling Up and Communities and Local Housing who had it.
That's who my previous inquiry, the caseworker, basically was pointed at Gove by Philip Davis.
Yeah.
So I would have, unless, as you say,
Yeah.
It's a different caseworker which has been sent on.
I think from the point of view of the budget discussion tomorrow night, as far as I'm concerned, we haven't been saved at the 12th hour. You know, unless we get an email during the day tomorrow, just a report to the full council tomorrow night that well, there is no input. You know, so what we prophesied in September is actually happening.
Yeah, yeah. It's just reaffirming that. I had a meeting with Julie Robinson-Joyce about another work-related issue last week, and I took the opportunity, and nothing.
No.
There's no. It's as you were.
Yeah.
Basically.
I think the interesting thing is, we were advised by Julia that if we put the precept up because of the changing places or broke soil with a project, then that may well eradicate us from or eliminate us from the funding. Mm-hmm. And she wanted us to say on September the 22nd as to whether or not we were going to step aside. And we continued with the path. Mm-hmm. However, even at this date now, we've done neither of those things to compromise our position with Bradford. And Julia admitted that it was an opinion rather than a fact.
Right.
So
yeah, my understanding, and it's my understanding of an opinion. So it's sort of weaker. Yeah. Was that if the precept changed for any reason, then that's sort of a barrier to that's my understanding. But again, it's my understanding of an opinion.
Well,
so it's
one would reflect it back to Bradford and say, well, their precept should be the same as last year. Then,
yeah,
you know, it's.
We don't get grants under different guises.
Well,
this is the trouble, isn't it? They get grants.
I don't think
in other areas, so you can't legislate for it. It's not.
I don't think anyone with a reasonable hat on would say you can't put the precept up, otherwise you eradicate yourself from this, because you eliminate yourself from that. I keep using the wrong term.
But ours is a precept, isn't it?
Yes.
But Bradford Council will get money under another hat, won't it? So when it puts its rates up, it won't have any impact, will it?
Yeah.
You know, they'll get it under a different funding, some grant aid or something.
Yeah, possibly.
But we can't get it that way, can we? Because that will impact our...
No.
So we're in slightly different rules, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we just want to hang on as long as we can before we have to show us hand, sort of thing. If we can, I mean...
Yeah, we can do, but ultimately we have to place a contract.
Trouble is, we're not getting any positive vibes, are we?
We have to place a contract before end of February.
Well, that's fair enough.
Because that's when the prices go up, and that's what that does eliminate or eradicate the gap.
But at least we're buying some time, aren't we? Not panicking to go straight.
Yeah. No, we're just getting our ducks in a row here.
Yeah.
So. But if we don't get the 20,000 quid from the government, then you know the precept has to cover it because it's coming out of reserves. So.
And it also means that another authority somewhere in the UK will potentially get that £20,000. So people who need to use the facility nationwide don't lose out. No. There's one more.
No, the government have confirmed that there's multiple rounds now, where they said originally there was only one round. Now they're saying there's multiple rounds.
Has any money actually been allocated at this moment?
Not as far as we know.
As I understand it at the moment, there's more than enough money based upon the people that put in their expressions of interest.
Right.
So the £37 million that's been set aside hasn't all been taken up so far with the inquiries that the government has had.
And did they have a cut-off date for people applying?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're not being oversubscribed.
So which is why they're opening up additional rounds, as I understand it, to try and make sure that all of the money is allocated. And that's the flaw in this sort of process, because it's based upon the knowledge, the will, the energy, and the lobbying within the respective parts of the country to actually get somebody to express an interest for a certain amount of this pot.
Right.
I think there are nominal amounts that have been allocated to each district based upon population bases, etc.
Yeah.
And you know, I think the money will come, but when?
No, that's the question, isn't it? That's the question. When?
Just a side note. Was the December meeting on Teams? Because if so, I could attend it, and I've just remembered something from it.
Yes, it was on Teams.
I'm fairly sure that in that meeting, I think that was the one that Councillor Owen attended.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my understanding was that her understanding was similar to mine in that the FNGP and the agreement of the precept was some sort of finish line for waiting on government funding.
Yeah.
And that we weren't going
It's
to.
tomorrow. It's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tomorrow is as long as we can wait. And if the government gets back to us on Wednesday.
Yes. But what I was saying earlier was that we're not putting the precept up because of CP toilets.
No.
And as long as we haven't broken ground before the government come along with the 20,000, we should be able to defend the position that we may well have placed a contract with a company, but we haven't broken the two rules which were only opined by Julia in the first place.
Okay.
So I think we could mount a strong campaign to say what the chuffing heck, in whatever prose we want.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just mindful of what I don't want is I don't want there to be any, and I don't think that this would come from this group, but what I don't want is any procrastination or prevarication or waiting this never-ending.
No, we have agreed that in the, I think it's the November full council.
I think it was December, the one that was really
Yeah,
It'd
because
be
we had
cold.
the full council in November.
Okay, it was
Yeah.
in December.
Yeah.
So that December one had a date of end of December written in it.
yeah.
So the council have approved us to go forward
Okay.
if we didn't receive grant funding by the end of December.
Okay.
So that was fine. Okay. So any more on the government funding pot? And I'll move on to B. Okay, to receive an update from the F&GP held on the 12th of January, last Wednesday. Well, as far as this committee is concerned, or this working group is concerned, all you need to know really is that we reaffirmed the conversations we had in the previous December working group, which was based on the F&GP in December, which has taken forward the requirement by the full council to go find the money in particular budget lines and report back. So that has been reported back to the F&GP and is in the agenda for tomorrow's full council meeting. That we were looking for, the full council asked us to go and find money without touching the SIL funding. That was pretty much where they were coming from. So we found slack money of something like 52,000. Don't quote me, the figures are in the F&GP minutes, but something like 52,000 where we wanted 37,400. So we found the 37,000 and still left the council with slack money to spend between now and the end of March. So we're not emptying the coffers by any means. That's thrown up wider conversation as to about how did the council get the precept so wrong last year that left this so much money slopping around in the coffers to be spent at the end of this year. And I think those conversations will play out in the full council tomorrow night.
COVID had a big impact, didn't it?
Yeah, COVID's had a big impact, and the grant funding was low and things like that. But it might be a case of next year we sharpen the pencil a bit on particular budget lines and make sure whatever project is sponsored by a councillor gets done by a councillor. I think that's really what it comes down to. But as far as this committee is concerned, is we just reaffirmed last week what we had already affirmed before Christmas when we'd done the job. So as far as the report into full council tomorrow is concerned, is that we've done the task. Okay. So any comments from people on that? Okay. The meeting with the preferred contract on the 10th of January. This was interesting in as much it was held on Zoom and not face to face, purely because the Astor Bannerman guy went down with COVID. So we had it on Zoom, and we went through we'd already let them know the agenda, and the agenda was basically the tick list that we had as outstanding requirements, which was in the business case, which the clerk has been delegated to achieve. So some of them are on the page there, the colourways, the LED lighting, the door access, the signage. So we stepped through those action points as an agenda, and also picked up the Lola testing, the keypad that we're talking about, and those sort of issues. It was minuted. I think it might be appropriate to put the minutes into this meeting at some stage.
Yeah.
Um,
This, sorry, the 10th of January was actually when he came here, when I met John Collier here.
okay, so there's a typo there. Okay, so it's the meeting on Zoom we should be reporting
Yeah.
to at this. So
Yeah.
apologies to those watching on
yeah,
YouTube that there's a typo on C. It wasn't the 10th of January. It was just before Christmas,
Just
then,
before
wasn't it?
Christmas, was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well we know when it was here around the room. So that's the meeting I'm talking about. Is the first initial kick-off meeting with John Collier and Adrian Cowell from the building company, Smart Pod. So essentially, we haven't answered all the questions. That's really what it comes down to. We've got some questions to answer, such as colours.
Yeah.
They've got some questions to answer as to how does the radar key interact with the keypad, should we elect to have one. So some of those questions are being answered by them providing samples. Some of the samples haven't yet got here. So we can only pursue what we can pursue. So there's a few tick items left to go forward with. But I'm hopeful when we get to the next agenda point, we can actually make some recommendations to Eve to this is what this group want to do with the colours. Okay? And indeed those other 4 things there. So with that, I'm just going to ask you, have you got any questions about the contractor meeting which was before Christmas?
No.
Okay.
Crack on.
It was minuted, and minutes will come out to you in due course. I think that's something we need to do, isn't it? Yeah, Eve's nodding.
Just to say as well, the 10th of January, when I actually met John Collier here, he took pictures of the workings.
Well, that'll come up under the door access mechanism under the next, as to why he came here and what we were asking him to do. Okay, so 21, 22, 65, the toilet interior. So this notes that we're making recommendations to the clerk, because it's the clerk who has the delegated authority to tie up all the loose ends on this contract and move forward. So it's noting that as we go through. The internal colourways, we have a task of deciding the ceiling, the walls and the floor. We did choose the ceiling, but what we didn't do was accurately note which ceiling choice we made. So with that in mind, Daryl, I'm going to throw it up and see if you can all remember which one it was. So here is the presentation by Asta Bannerman. The people on YouTube can't see this, but we're looking at a presentation of ceilings, basically. So there was that one there.
No, I don't think it was that one.
Okay, I don't think it was that one either. It was that one there.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it was that one there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trees.
Yeah. Because the other one was nice, but it's too bland.
Okay.
Whereas this one, we're under trees. We thought we'd have trees. So can we note then, for the purposes of these minutes, that proposed by me, seconded by Daryl, and voted on by, I guess, all of us. Did we all agree? Catherine, did you have an input on ceilings?
I don't think so, but it looks really lovely.
These are light panels.
Yeah.
They're light panels, and you can either have them plain or with a design. And we figured that with a person laying on the changing table, looking up, it'd be nice to have some sort of visual scene to look at, and that one was.
Fiona was very keen on that.
Fiona was keen on that as well. Yeah. So it's the one on page 6. That's what we didn't note. Okay. So going back to this one, so we have some walls to choose from. So talking to John, the minimum number of wall colours we can choose is 1. The maximum number is 4. The ideal number is somewhere between 1 and 2 because of the busyness of the room.
Yeah.
If you think about what's going on in the room, and again you can look at the ideal. I think on here there is an ideal. Well, there's a picture there. So that particular room has 2 colours in it: a green and a silver, or green and a white. What I think we were talking about was having a feature wall but that feature wall wasn't going to have a picture on it or a cartoon or anything because of keeping it bland to note the ages of the people. So rather than having a sort of a complicated picture of 5 live locks and promoting Bingley, we thought, well, there's really no point because you're trying to clash 2 different requirements together there. And the requirement here is to make it clean, visually attractive for visually impaired people, and hygienic looking rather than busy. So I don't know. With that in mind, we got sent a colour chart with 27 colours on it. On this chart, you'll see the light reflective values on them, and these 5 here. There's no particular reason why we were sent these 5. I've asked the question, why did we get these sent? Are these what they prefer? The answer was no. We're free to pick any colours from there. Why have you sent me these 5 then? Don't know, because I just think it was whatever Outro had lying around at the time. However, those colours do feature in here. Helen was around when I showed them at the F&GP. I brought them down. That was when you were sick with tonsillitis or something. I was hoping to catch you, Lewis, here with them. And Helen was voicing an opinion that maybe we should mirror the Bingley Town Council logos in the toilet. And I guess you guys know what the Bingley Town Council logo looks like, and it is there in the top corner. But there's no 2 colours on that chart which exactly mimic those. The purple is much darker than the purple on the chart, and indeed I think it would be too dark, and the green is too lime. However, going back to the Astor Bannerman position, there is in fact a lime in there, and to my mind it looks ghastly.
I'd rather have the first one that you show.
Yeah, but
that's more
that one. That's this one here.
That's more. That too is more.
I have my favourites, but as I was saying to Lewis before we started the meeting, I'm not fixed on any colours, and light reflection values come into it. Now, as I understand it, we have, if we pick 2, we have to have a light reflection value of 30 difference between the 2 colours at an adjoining thing.
The issue is going to be
and then the floor.
Yeah. That's for my 2 penneth. Simplest is best.
Yeah.
I would go for a very, reduced palette in that sort of context. So I'd probably just stick to 1 colour personally.
Right.
Yeah. But you could have different colours on different walls. That's fine, but I wouldn't mix up the colours on a particular wall. That's not.
No. I wasn't suggesting that. No.
But what you talk about in terms of like LRVs, light reflectance values, is the crucial thing is the values between the wall and the fixtures.
Yes.
And the wall and the floor.
Yes.
Or the fixtures and the floor.
Okay.
So that's the issue. Now that works.
Yes, that's ideal.
That's
okay. Let's do that then.
You can do that, but if we were to take a black and white picture of that, I'm sure it would. So it's personal choices really.
Yeah,
what you would like. If you've got a particular feeling about colours, then go for it.
Can you see these from over there, Catherine, or do you?
Yeah,
no, these here.
There's the palettes there. Yeah.
Do you want to? I don't know whether you want me to throw them down that end of the room for you. Yeah, pass them down.
There's another issue as well, just to be aware of, is that the cleaner the palette, visually, the easier it is to keep clean.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I have my 2 favourites if we're talking 2, but I'm also warm to the feeling that we should only have 1. The floor is a different issue. There are many choices to either go dark, and I think for scuff marks and things like that, or to go light for cleanliness. So again, it's debatable, and the light reflecting values of the floor were different again. But if I was to voice my favourites to you, Catherine, and then just bias the whole room, I would put the blue at the top. Yes, that one with linen at the top left of the chart. That one. That's what I would do. I would have the back wall of the toilet wall as we see it there in the blue, and the whole rest of the room in linen.
The issue there
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
is dark blue against that blue, and if that is the most tonal contrast. So
Dark blue against what?
So the handrails are going to be in dark blue, aren't they?
Or they could be in white.
They could be.
Yeah.
But
It's
then
up to
white
people's view.
against-
White, for me, appears more institutional. But it's
What's there, I think, settles lovely because you've got
sorry.
a break in the wall. That's just my view.
yeah. White works, obviously. So that's the issue. So you can't look at if we
What
all
about
agree,
linen?
we think
It's
that's the colour that we really like.
What about
then
linen?
that dictates the fixture.
Darryl, what
fixtures.
about linen, which isn't exactly white? It's sheet white, and it's off white, if you like. Is there a white there, Catherine?
Ice, I guess, is similar.
Yeah,
to
so
bright
you've got polar
Or
white, which is
malva.
bright white, but then you've got a linen, which has got a sort of Egyptian cotton type feel to it.
It's like a Farron ball one, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you a preference, Catherine?
I mean, I also like the picture on there, and I think the ceiling is going to be such a big feature that
Well,
I don't think
let's
we
go
need
to the ceiling. And again, that's shown. As you can see, though, it's not a ceiling that they've used in that particular toilet. It's a ceiling which is being put on there by the artwork people on the PowerPoint.
Okay,
You
so,
know, that
so it could be any.
the ceiling that's used in the green one is the ceiling we don't like.
Yeah. I think that the ceiling used in the green one there, I think that the ceiling is more pastel in itself.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's not a massive issue. I think that ceiling is going to look amazing, and I don't think it massively matters. I quite like the tealy bluey green one at the top that Steve mentioned, and I thought having that in contrast with the green to your right hand, the one to your right, that's the one. I thought having those two together, but given what Darren's just said about the contrast between the fixtures and fittings, it just feels like overcomplication, and what's the need to overstimulate?
The other interesting thing is that ceiling we've just chosen will throw blue light down. You know, as in a cold blue light in the colour spectrum. So you might find that green isn't green. It actually becomes sort of a tealy colour. Purely because of the blue, and we might be better off going for a linen or a white. I knew this would be fun, this particular section.
I'd be quite happy with linen. I'm not.
Let's have a quick
I'd probably avoid going completely
There's a silver.
bright white. You just see in terms
It's stark,
of
isn't it?
it's stark. It feels institutional. It's the glare, all of that sort of stuff.
You wouldn't go for the.
I wouldn't go
ice
for
white.
bright, complete white. White. I mean, white. You've got all of these
What other ones
softer
there?
colours there,
What's
if you
that
like.
one under your left hand? The colours on the back.
That's the colour.
Yeah, no, the name.
All right. Sea foam.
Sea foam. There you
Do you
go.
think there's one colour? Do you think if it was like white, that it's just asking for somebody to graffiti it more so than a colour?
possibly.
Possibly.
I don't know if there's any
I would hope
proof
it
in
wouldn't
what
have
I'm saying there,
scallywags in
but I don't.
There's a white one there.
To me, that looks like it's in a hospital.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it probably is. Yeah.
What they're all showing is a breakup, aren't they?
There's a blue one.
Yeah.
They're not showing one colour all the way around. And
That's
got
nice.
it.
Yeah. Well, go for it. I mean, you could go for. I don't have a
There's a
preference.
white.
I mean,
There's a
simplest
white,
is best. I mean, you can by all means have a feature colour, and then go for two colours if you want.
There's a dark
Don't go
three
for any
walls
more
with
than
one
that.
colour
Don't go for any more than that.
There's a dark one there, Daryl.
That's actually slightly nicer than I thought it'd look.
It's about how that plays with the light.
Yeah.
So what fittings are in
I
there.
get
So, but I mean, I think.
And you
as long
have
as
to go for a light floor if you're going to go for a dark wall there,
Yeah.
haven't you? You've got to.
And that's the thing that's going to get the wear and tear, isn't it?
Yeah.
The floor should be dark, I think.
See, there's a white tiled one with a sort of a grey granite floor.
I think that sort of tone of floor
Yeah.
is the sort that it should possibly go for,
yeah.
because it's more forgiving.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a white with balloons. There's another white one. There's a white with some light blue tones into it, with a very dark floor. That one.
I think there's
That-
definitely
that's it.
like a reason to make it distinctive, because obviously we'll be taking pictures and sharing them on Facebook and things, and so you sort of want to think of how the image of the building looks, and people, and it be memorable in some way. I mean, I know the ceiling will do that, but it just depends which angle I guess you take it at.
Have you got any view, Eve? No. So how about them picking up the green that we're talking? Is that orchard? The green?
Was it this one?
Yeah.
Or,
That does look nice on there, doesn't it?
yeah,
does, yeah.
orchard it is.
Orchard, and one of the whites that's not white.
Linen.
Do you want to pass that round to Dell to give him? I want him
Oh,
to
there's
tell us what the
Citron.
LRVs are.
So yeah,
I can't tell you off the top. Yeah, you just work it out. They're all serial code. It
Did
codes
you say it
out.
was 30 or 50
Yeah.
LBV difference that we needed?
30.
Does it say?
So the LRV for that is 83.
That's on the.
The LRV for
It's
this
not on there. It's on the
is
card itself.
223. Sorry, no, LRV for this one is 50. So, what did I
33.
say? Does that, I can't-
83.
I haven't got glasses.
83.
Did that say 83?
He said 83, didn't he?
Yeah, 83.
83 and 50. So you've got enough out. So you've got 33 LRV. So those two work together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
Go for it.
Go for it.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I just
Catherine?
think we all liked that picture straight away, didn't we?
So we're going for one feature wall of the green and 3 walls in linen.
And
I quite like the 2 walls. Sorry, I came into this not having any opinions on this at all, but I think by having a second wall like they've got
Shall I?
makes it slightly
Well,
more
that'd be
interesting.
might be all 3 walls.
Yeah, good point.
I'm just going to.
What do you think, Darren?
Um,
Do you still think one wall would be best?
no,
You know?
no. It's, right. Okay. I just. It's fine. I think it's personal choice. I I feel this is something that people who are going to be using this should really have the say on.
Yeah.
Yeah, is my view. As long as you can get the LRVs right, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's personal choice, isn't it?
Okay. So
Find a toilet.
yeah, I'm just going to fire up the. I'm looking for the PDF, which I'm hopeful there. That's what I was looking for. Because in here it is the. I think that's downloading. Yes. Yeah, there it is. So once that's downloaded, I can open that. So this on a page has got the diagram we were talking about page 30 or so. There you go. So that is. Let's see if I can reduce that in size. I can't get rid of that. Right, okay, but hopefully, right. So that is the shape and size of the CP toilet that we're buying and sticking on our building. Right. So it's this wall here I was talking about, the southerly wall on this particular drawing. But are you two guys talking about the sink wall as well?
I'm just musing sort of south and east wall as we look at it, if you like.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. Darryl, what do you think?
I don't have a problem with that.
Catherine?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Mark?
No problem.
No
Go
problem.
for it,
Eve, right? Okay. So the it will be the from our point of view, it's the west and the south walls.
Yeah.
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 So from our point of view, Eve, it's the west and the south walls of the CPT in Orchard, and the north and the east walls in Linen.
You might be better describing it as the toilet wall and the sink wall.
Yeah.
The toilet wall and the sink wall. Yeah.
Simpler, isn't it?
If you put back
Just
the
where you
toilet
look at the
wall and
map.
sink.
Yeah,
well, I
coming
think
back
on
to it
the-
in several months' time with a compass.
at least I know what it is because
Yeah.
that's how I've named the cameras.
There we go.
Yeah. That's right. Okay, so moving back to the agenda then, and talking about the colourways, we then have floors to look at. Floors didn't get to me in terms of bits of paper like that, but an email arrived today, which I've cunningly linked into here, and and apologies, it will fire up on here, so it's not going to be exact, but it will give you the.
That's good.
Right, so we have. Let's allow all those. So again, apologies to those on YouTube, but we're looking at samples online, and we have there 12 samples of that particular type of flooring, but we also have another one. So again, we're going to fire that link up as well.
Too many choices.
Yeah,
It's like ordering a coffee.
there are too many choices. I agree. So these are Outro Classic 25 and Outro Aquarius. Again, on the we had 12 on the Outro Classic, and we have
18.
No, more.
Is there more? Oh.
Yeah, 20 on there. So I guess we need to start thinking about whether we want it light or dark first, and whether we want colours or not. Then we can get rid of, say, Spoonbill as a purple. So from my point of view, from a cleaning point of view, I like it lighter. From a scuff and scrapes point of view, I'd like it darker. But I'm ambivalent.
Well, it has to be one of the greys, isn't it?
I think the three of us actually reacted to one of the images that we saw, and it was sort of a mid-grey, and we were like, yeah.
Okay, well I can put that one there.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to end up specifying exactly what's in that picture, aren't we? So we have here like
probably a reason why
we
it's
have a
featured,
turn there, and if you click on this little thing here, it throws it up and it tells you the LRV is 31.
Is that
and
dark enough? would you say?
it's a grey speckled. If you want to go darker, we can go darker with this one here, which is Hippo. And that is an LRV of 11, so quite non-reflective.
Do you prefer that?
Well, Catherine said dark. It needs to be dark, didn't you?
So the LRV of one of the walls is 80 something, isn't
Yeah.
it? And the other LRV is 50.
3.
Yeah, 53, yeah.
So
11.
You need at least one
20.
that's 23 or less.
23 left. Well, there's a newt, which is 10.
Well, the other one works as well, doesn't it? So
That turn
the turn.
was 31.
No, sorry, not that one.
So
No, that one.
turn is
The
out.
Hippo.
Hippo.
Yeah, that was
Hippo
11.
works, that's 11.
That's
yeah.
11.
Have you a preference, Catherine?
No, I'm just thinking, like any of those really dark ones, but you could do the purple and the green, couldn't you?
There's some
I
darker
mean, I'm
ones.
not sure it's the most appealing combination, but you could do it, I think, if you wanted to.
But it's not the same colours though. It's not the
Okay.
colours of the logo.
We
is it?
can-
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's
know,
fairly
we're
close,
gonna
but
try.
it's not very
Okay.
pretty, is it?
No.
I've
Okay,
che-
I'm just saying.
I've changed away from looking at Hippo. I'm going to the other options we had from Astor Bannerman, which is a black boy, an anvil, or a walnut.
I quite like Anvil.
You like anvil? Well, let's throw up anvil in a bigger palette.
It's 11 again.
11. It's less speckly, isn't it? You go back to that 11. I prefer what you just said there, anvil, because that to me has got big white speckles, whereas this one's got smaller speckles. That's the difference there, isn't it?
I'm trying to appreciate what would be more distracting and whether that would be a good thing, but obviously
Just out of interest, what's the one on this side that we?
This one here,
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Not
that one there, or
that one or that one, yeah. The grey one. Yeah.
the grey one.
The grey one or the
well,
whisper.
The whisper.
Or the whisper. Yeah.
The whisper is 24.
That's,
So that
Right.
works.
yeah.
Yeah.
I bet that's the
It's
one on the
getting
picture.
close. That's 29 away from the wall,
29,
53.
I thought it was 50. I thought it was 83 and 50. So that's 4 away. I might have remembered it wrong.
Is
Oh,
it
right.
50 and 83 or is it?
It is 1583. Yeah.
83 and what was the other one?
50, yeah.
Linen.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the one that's 83.
Yeah,
One in your hand, isn't
an
it?
orchard.
Oh, sorry.
No, yeah, but it's on the
It's
card
on
there at
that's
the
on the
bottom.
card at the bottom.
Oh, 50, yeah.
Yeah.
50. So this at 24 gives
Right.
it 26 away. Tight.
Is
Okay.
is 30 a strict number?
It's not. It's guidance. But
Okay.
the only
What's the other colour
I'm
there?
interested in that because something like that because
The other grey one, Steve.
that one there.
No,
Graphite.
no. Oh, that's graphite, isn't it?
Graphite.
Yeah, but 21.
That one's alright.
Yeah, that looks right.
So that's 29.
It's 29 as well again.
Yeah.
What's that one up there, Steve? Next one up, that's there, that's it. Pewter grey.
26. So less reflective. So that only gives you 24.
That's more reflective.
That's more reflective.
Yeah.
Okay. So we go back to this where we got more and lose that one. And then we looked at hippo, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Down there there's a newt, which is sort of a bluey dark.
I think that's
10.
really nice. I'm just not convinced it'd work, like
No.
aesthetically.
If you got green, does it go against? Does it work against?
It's what I
green?
mean.
Clashes.
Kind of.
Yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
Do you think it does work?
I don't. I guess so.
I suppose it's almost like a nature theme because you've got the sky, you've got the grass,
Yeah.
and then you've got the
Can't see from this.
river,
Yeah, and you've got newts.
for lack of a better term.
Yeah, so we could have animals, we have hippo and things like that. I think, from listening to the room, I think we're on this page rather than the other one. I think there's more appetite for something on here like anvil,
Yeah.
walnut,
See, smaller speckles. If you're looking at,
blackberry.
yeah. Where's the one that? What you want to avoid is something that makes things undistinguishable. So if things get dropped on the floor, looks like things that the keys are dropped on the on this bedding here.
Yeah.
And if it's a noisy floor, then that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
So the smaller speckles are better than the bigger speckles.
Well, I like blackberry.
I like that.
I like blackberry rather than the other one, which had the bigger silver bits in it. If you go back to what we're talking about, say on the blackberry.
Yeah.
Well, that's it's the same thing I've just looked at, isn't it? Oh, it was back on the other one. So we go back to anvil. That's okay. That's a grey rather than a.
Slightly lighter, isn't it?
Do what?
Slightly lighter than the other one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, slightly lighter than the blackberry, and then you've got
Lighter
this
than-
walnut, which is a sort of a brown.
Different colour altogether.
Yeah, different colour. They're all much for muchness in terms of they're all 11 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be comfortable with either anvil or blackberry, personally.
Any
Go for it.
blackberry? Blackberry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blackberry, Catherine.
Yeah. I think so.
For a minute there, because you kept on saying the word blackberry, I thought the rest of the meeting you were going to get stuck and just saying the word blackberry at me.
No, I was just
Really
trying to
tickle
get
me,
someone
that.
to nod at me, and
Can we second that?
Mark is saying go for it, but we've got about four of it. Blackberry. Yeah.
What was seconding?
Okay, Blackboy. In the Outro Classic range
Yeah, I vote for that.
for the
as well.
floor.
Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. Well
Does
done.
that cause a difference to the price?
No.
Or they're
No.
purely
No,
optional.
all the same. So that's the internal colourways. We've got orchard and linen and a blackberry floor. The light panel mechanism we have chosen, door access mechanism. I said we'd come on to this later, and I don't have an answer. The meeting that Eve is talking about for the 10th of January was where the Astor Bannerman rep came here on Monday and looked at, or last Monday, and took photographs and looked at what we're doing. Because what I was saying to him is, in the current offering, the radar key is in the door, physically a standard key in the door lock of the door supplied by that particular door company. However, we've got that door here, and the radar key is separate with a strike lock with an electronics. Now, we could feed the power to the building through the ceiling here, but the door locking mechanism comes on a Cat5 cable to the door locks, and it's 12 volts and it's not full power. So they could take a feed if they were to talk to Healthmatic and find out whether that was proprietary to Healthmatic. So effectively we have another box in the wall there with another Potterton boiler programmer specifically for this one. So we go shut, free, pay, open, and a timer. So we can control that door exactly the same way as we control the existing toilets. But to allow people to use the radar key as well during the day, it's fine. To allow anyone else, effectively it would lock it rather than open it, if you see what I mean, because it's open anyway by use of the radar key.
Yep.
But it would allow us to lock it. So currently at the moment we have a radar key and deadlocks. So we're working with the cleaners and working with Astor Bannerman on the existing deliverable to make sure that we don't jeopardise the fact that we're not going to get a CP toilet because of any detail on this particular issue. So currently we've asked Astor Bannerman to go talk to Healthmatic to find out the art of the possible. With the, where did that extra information come from? Is it if it's proprietary to the door company, makes it dead easy. We just re-specify the door, and we can have a four-way meeting with Astor Bannerman, us, and the door company. Get them here. They're only in, I think they're over by the coast somewhere, on sort of Whitby way. They're not particularly far anyway. And we already got two of their doors, so it didn't seem to be too difficult to my mind. However, we also have a situation where the top man in Astor Bannerman, who Nick Kent, I think his name was, he's talking to the directors in Healthmatic and talking about relationships and liaisons moving forward. Anyway, so we've exercised that relationship as well to say, come on. And now that those phone calls were only happening late last week, so I think it's early days. And John was going to get back to me today to say, give me a progress report on what he'd done, but it hasn't happened yet. So at the moment we have an agreement with the cleaning company to, and this drops into cleaning, which is not on this list, but it's germane. So what we've done is we've realised that we were cleaning the toilets at 6 o'clock at night and then cleaning them again at 9 o'clock in the morning, and yet they hadn't been opened through the night. So we were overstepping because of COVID. It was basically a knee jerk 2 years ago, and there is potentially an avenue for savings. So what we've done is we've swapped the cleaning costs from the morning clean into the CP toilet. So all three toilets will now get cleaned twice a day, and the cleaning company will pitch up in the morning and not clean the CP toilet, but will open the deadlocks at 9 o'clock. So it goes live at 9, come what may. The others go live at 9 with the time locks. This one will go live with the cleaner pitching up and opening them. And then at 6 o'clock at night, that same cleaner will deadlock them again, and the time locks will deadlock these ones. So the CP toilet is in coordination with the existing toilets. And we can then, if we have the ability through the door access mechanism, to swing that any which way we can through discussions with whoever we can. We get some flexibility. But as per the spec off the lorry, that's what's happening. Right.
Okay, so that gives us flexibility for that the CP to be available for the nighttime economy.
It doesn't at the moment. No, it doesn't, because at 6 o'clock, I think the council will be wary of leaving it just on a radar key. That's what I personally think. However, that's not to say that the council may change its mind. But at the moment, what we're saying is that the cleaner cleaning them at 6 will deadlock them.
I think we agreed previously that would be the starting point. It'd be monitored.
The starting point of the discussion.
Yeah.
So what I think the users said is they don't want the council to latch on to a minor detail to stop the provision of the toilets per se.
Absolutely. I just think you want to create the potential for it to be able to be.
Yes, well that's the discussion.
That will be there, yeah.
That's the discussion. So at the moment we have discussions with the cleaning company, which says if there is a special something on, a park event or an arts centre event, we can pay them to open them later and come down later. Now their problem is lone working female, dark nights, locking up a toilet, at 9 o'clock at night. However, by special arrangement, by paying them, they will consider it ad hoc. We've also got the landlord of the Market Tavern, which is the other side of the square, opening discussions with us about using the bouncers to come and check it up, and his staff closing them, or even opening them with provision of the deadlock and a radar key. We can provide them with an extra set, and they can take a deposit or a bank card or whatever, so they can get it back. So I don't know. Those discussions haven't happened yet, but there's more than one way to skin the cat, I think, going forward. But at the moment, we need that flexibility bolted into it by the Housematic type keypad, or
I think that's the point I'm making. Just make sure you future-proof it is the point.
We're trying, Dal. We haven't got there yet because it's not something that SmartPod have ever come across. And I think that every other one that they've done so far has been within the confines of a zoo, train station, sports centre.
He's got his own management.
He's got his own management wraparound and not on a high street. So that's the issue. So our request has come at them from the left side, if you like, and they're going, oof, but they're warm to the idea.
It sounds like there are potentials there, and there are potential solutions there. So
we just
they don't. It doesn't seem insurmountable.
They need to be surmounted before we place an order. That's the only thing, and so it needs to get going in late January, early February, so that we're now in a position to have those conversations with the door company.
Well, does it need to be arrived at before that? As long as we agree that the solution is that
strike locks is the answer.
Strike locks and flexibility with the radar key. We don't care how you do it. Can you do it? Yes. That's all we need to care about. We don't need to care about the technical implementation.
Well, we don't, but we need to specify it and pay for it if there's price increases and things like that.
But that's I suppose that's the point that we're making. If they're happy to sign up and they accrue extra costs after the contract is signed and agreed to, then that's their.
I don't think we can do that because of the council. We've got in the business case a sum of money. We've also got the 2,200, which is our flex from Sovereign and them. So we have the flexibility within a bandwidth.
Yeah.
What we can't do is place a contract with an unknown.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that this wouldn't necessarily be two-way flexibility. We have agreed to a price. If their solution ends up costing them less money, we've still committed to X price.
Okay.
If they go away and they commit to finding the solution and it costs them £5,000, we've committed to this price. So it's their loss. So they've got the.
Yeah.
So if we commit to the price, that's the price. It doesn't matter how complicated and expensive their technical implementation is or isn't.
No. Okay. Well, do
you understand what I mean?
I am.
From their point of view, this is a challenge that's going to happen many more times. These are pods, and there's several other companies, as we know, who are have their own versions of the pods. There are others that are designing. I know Pressolite are designing their pod as well in Scandinavia. So so there's going to be. It's the way that things are going in terms of the market. So it's a solution that needs to be found.
Yeah.
So they'll be investing to find a solution because then it's much more marketable for different circumstances.
Okay, but at the moment, my feedback is we haven't solved it. So no, that's all it is. So moving on, can I move on to signage detail? The signage detail we got from them was basically the signage detail which you've seen before, which is this sign here on the door. And we were talking about this panel here above and whether we should have changing places up there or Bingley Town Council or whatever. And again, that's still subject to debate. This pod we're looking at now has actually got windows there. We don't. But we're saying, well, what is the art of the possible there for signage? I was looking for another one on there, and I don't think there is. So currently, at the moment, we've got light slapping across there.
Mm-hmm.
So we only have a door. So we're saying, well, what is the external signage? And the external signage is only that sign that's on the door, which is the standard CP toilet. I'm sorry to keep there. There's one there. That little one down there.
Yeah.
On there. So the other thing about external signage is I'm struggling to get any input from Simon Diwali of Bradford Council, who is the man who should be able to give me an approximate cost for a road sign. And I don't know whether you know or got any contact. Have you got any way of jogging someone in Bradford Council to say, give us an approximate cost for a road sign on a lamppost? That's all I want.
I can get in contact with Simon. And
I've tried. There are 2 emails from
Bradford
me.
put a sign up anyway. As a matter of, won't they put a sign up as a matter of their duty of care to the public?
I would have thought no, but it's a nice try, Mark.
I mean, is there a finger post where there's an obvious? There's an
there
obvious
isn't one at the
finger
moment.
post?
No.
Right, and are we asking for a finger post? Or are we asking for a sign attached to a building? Are we asking
No,
for,
finger post.
We're asking for
A cost for a finger post that says, the 3 signs, the male, female changing places sign there. And it might even say the hub, Bingley Town Council, the hub as well, over on this corner opposite the opticians. That's all I'm thinking. There's enough lampposts over there to stick a finger post on, but I can't find anyone in Bradford. Well, I just think it's Simon. So if someone can help me with that cost.
So they ought to go in touch with highways, don't you?
Yeah, but you phone up the help number, you get nowhere. It's just,
Yeah, it's a call centre, isn't it? And they just get referred on Simon's.
You want the number for
It's
Keighley,
Simon's
don't you?
patch, isn't it?
Highways are based in Keighley, really. Yeah.
I've just been liaising with someone about some signs in Sandy Lane, so I can get in touch with him. He's been really.
Oh, please.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, excellent. Well done.
Okay.
Because there is a finger post in the corner of the square, isn't there, by the where the flagpole is.
Does it point at here?
Hey,
The toilets?
points. I don't know what's actually said on it, but it does point in several
You
directions.
could put another finger on it, couldn't you?
Yes.
Oh, you mean that thing? Yeah, I know which one
Yeah.
you mean. Yeah, the one that says Myrtle Walk and things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's on there. If you
Yeah.
put it on there. There's
Yeah.
another one there, so you could have 2 signs.
You could have. Yeah. Someone to talk to would be nice.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
He's got somebody with cracked it.
Okay.
All right.
So moving on then.
You want me to try and get in contact with Simon as well, or do you want me to wait for Eve?
No, do any which way. Yeah.
Okay.
The more we put, the better.
Just on the sign, it would be good to have something in the park to tell people that there's a change in places and toilets, in fact, because often when we do our park runs,
Yeah.
people will say, are there any
Yeah.
toilets? And they've literally just driven past them to get to the park run.
Yeah. There's going to be
But
budget
it's still-
considerations on any of these things, but yeah.
I'm wondering whether Astor Bannerman would sponsor them, because if they could put their logo on something like that.
When I asked what in signage was included in the contract, I got the answer. That door sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if they're internal pods, they won't be bothered about external signage, will they? Because the
All
signage
the
will be-
internal signage is there.
No, I mean, if they're putting in buildings
Yeah.
rather than external houses, an external
Yeah,
unit.
it is. Yeah.
So what something that they consider.
No.
And they're putting into a unit or a shopping centre.
I remember
centre
trying
put
to
the signage, won't it?
get one at the bottom of Moorhead Lane for Northcliffe Golf Club, and it was horrendously expensive from Bradford. And I think that's where I'm nervous about it.
It depends where it's located, isn't it? Because it might be subject to a TRO, mightn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. If it's a traffic regulation order, then
That
it
whacks
costs
the
about
cost up.
£3,000 to go through the publicity process.
I heard
Yeah.
I heard £3,000 with Northcliffe to put a.
So, and that's why, economies of scale, local authorities tend to, when we're doing as a job lot, and say, right, okay, well, let's do one TRO with all of these on, so it's one fee.
3,000 for the whole lot. But
Several times 3,000, which
Yeah.
makes perfect sense.
if you
So,
could put the finger post, it won't cost anything over there,
but
would
I
it?
don't know if you need a TRO. It depends where the finger post. If it's going on the highway, it's a
Well, it's
TRO.
already fixed, isn't it? It's already on
Yeah.
the corner of the square, so
Yeah, but if it's already there, I don't know whether or not you would need it for something that's
we'll
already
put an
established.
extra
Yeah.
finger on it.
That's
don't
why
know.
you need to speak to
Hence the conversation going
Simon or
forward. Would be
somebody.
good.
Yeah.
Do you
Okay.
think? Do you think Lidl and Aldi might put something up, like they pay for their own signs because it's
Dunno.
advantageous to their
What
customers?
in their buildings?
So if Lidl had one from their car park,
Yes.
illustrating where it was from turning out of their car park, then that would
We
be
can
helpful.
ask. We
No,
can,
they'll say no.
Yeah.
we can send them a letter saying, since you decided not to contribute, why
Do you know
didn't
the
you do
reason
this?
they gave for not putting the changing places in was
Yeah,
because
come
you looked at the owl to remind me. Because they said that the ceiling, what are they called? Like the beams,
Yes.
Yeah.
were not strong enough to hold the weight.
Oh.
And then Steve, who's a mechanical engineer, was like, they're like 12 tons or something. Like, how could they not be strong enough to hold
Yeah.
the weight of a human
Yeah.
being?
Yeah.
But
Crazy.
yeah, we did ask them.
Okay.
But I think they should put a sign in, definitely.
Sort of interesting. We've got so Tesco, Asda, Morrison's now are getting on the wagon in terms of providing changing places in their stores. Certainly the new ones, and then retrofitting them. So they have a program. The Lidls and the Aldis. That's not where they are yet, and that's not where they see themselves.
Will we have to make a recommendation to full council that the council write to Aldi and Lidl to say, can you point, could you put up signs to point to here?
It can be one of my delegated decisions, can't it?
Signage detail. Says it there. That signage detail. Yes, okay. Let's try and avoid asking the full council. Yeah.
Or like,
Okay.
yeah, like Lidl could pay for that sign, that round sign, but on
Yeah.
that side of the building. So
So we've got a couple of months
it.
to do that. So,
Yeah.
why don't we just hold fire on that particular one until we know that it's been ordered, we know when the delivery date's going to be, and we can say to Aldi and Lidl, it's coming, it's going to be here on that date, could you put a sign up, and point them towards the changing places, logos and things like that, and and hopefully get some better response rather than a bit wishy-washy saying we're thinking of, and
It's a difficult thing to say no to at
It
that
is.
point.
it is, yeah. Okay, shall we move on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We didn't exclude a member of the public, so I don't have anything else to talk to you about. But I think just to push your boundaries a little bit more, that was the full list in the business case of the things that the clerk has been delegated to, and we actually stopped there. So contractual terms, we have now agreed contractor terms. I think I'm looking at Eve there. I certainly had no issues with Astor Bannerman's contractor terms. There's nothing in there. It was all about once you paid, possession of the item you bought passes to you and things like that. Standard terms and conditions. The warranties need to be specified as per their bid. The colours need to be specified as per our agreement. In other words, our customer requirement of what we're buying forms part of the contract, but the actual contractor terms were not onerous at all, as far as we were concerned. There's a security alarm dummy box on this wall that needs to be moved, and my view was not moved, taken off and replaced on the other side of it when it's there, and that's to do with Yorkshire Security Services. The power supply fuse is going to be sorted by their electrician nearer the time. He's just going to come, and they know all about the pull-throughs here to get that, so that was okay. The PoE cameras, that's power over internet cameras on the new elevations. What we've said to them is, if we tell you where the cameras ought to be, could you leave some Ethernet cables in your skin so that they pitch up at the interconnection point here to come and connect to our camera box in here.
Can I just ask is this meeting going to be published?
Yes, it is. This meeting is
Because
published
we just
now.
talked about all of the security details for them.
Yeah, cameras.
Cameras,
Yeah.
dummy cameras,
Yeah.
Ethernet. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Okay. Alright, okay, so you're right in terms of the dummy box on the side there,
Yeah.
but there is a real box. There is, and it will.
That's fine. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
wondered. It's just,
It will go off.
yeah.
Yeah, there is security, but you're
I've
absolutely
heard it
right.
go off several times actually,
Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
definitely does work.
The cameras will be there, and they are live, and they're live now. Thank you, YouTube. Water supply they're picking up from down here. Soil pipe we've talked about many times in this meeting, so we won't do that detail again. And any other details may emerge as they are. So that's a list of things that we've got a control on. So that bottom section there were more to do with when we get underway with the contract. Their project manager will liaise with us and tick off those things there. Okay. So in terms of the meeting, I think we're at the date of the next meeting, which has presumably got to be the Monday before the February full council. Does that make sense? So that we can again throw some items into the full council.
The full council's on the 22nd.
So that's the Tuesday, so the 21st, so it'll be the 14th, Monday the 14th of February.
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Oh, right, isn't it?
That's a good
Right,
idea.
so who has a problem with meeting on Valentine's Day?
I might not, but I might need to check with my wife to make sure she doesn't.
Does it have to be on a Monday?
Doesn't, no.
No.
No, it was too late
Push
to
my luck a bit.
coordinate with your requirement to have action points by the Thursday of that week, and not to clash with the planning or the F&GP.
Right,
So-
we're planning the F&GP the previous week in February,
Okay,
so we could do any of those dates is free for me.
15th?
could be the 15th then.
Tuesday the 15th?
Tuesday the 15th. Okay, let's.
Oh, hang on.
Oh.
No. Could we do the 16th? That's a Wednesday.
Wednesday the 16th?
I don't have a problem with Wednesday the 16th.
I think that'll be alright.
Yeah.
But we've got to make sure then that any motions that we require to go to full council are crisp up in this meeting, because they will need to be put by the clerk on the Thursday out to full council. But I don't anticipate them being any. I mean, we are where we are now.
I think so. I think we're just we're nearly there, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Wednesday the 16th at 6:30 in the hub.
Okay.
And thank you very much, people. I'm
Right,
now
lovely.
going to turn off the recording.